Hello students, hope all of you are safe and doing good. Today we will learn some new topics from Unit 3 entitled See, Hear, Feel, Enjoy. So let's begin the class. In this unit we will be learning about what is imagery, examples of imagery poems, poems to play script, and from the grammar section we will be learning about adjectives, adverbs, noun and noun phrases. So let's start on with the class without wasting much time. Now getting on to the first topic, what is imagery? Now before we start off with this topic, let me start by asking, what poems do you love? Are they the ones that make you feel something? Do they make you see, feel, taste, touch, and hear what the poet does? So, in order to paint images in the reader's mind, poet used this particular imagery device. So in simple sense, we can understand that imagery is a device in which the poet makes use of the five senses, that is sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste in order to use this particular technique. Now, let us have a look at all of these five senses one by one and see how the poet makes use of this imagery device. The first sense we have is sight. Here the poet makes use of visual imagery to help you see a scene in your mind. Clear images are created with the help of adjectives. This helps you to picture it even better. So here the poets, with the help of the sense of sight, help you to recreate images in your mind as you read the different lines in the poem. For example, the deep blue sea sparkled in the sun. Here the poet wants you to imagine the visual of the sea where it has a reflection of the sun and it appears as if that the sea is sparkling. Another example, the pot was as red as a tongue after eating a cherry-flavored sweet. So here the poet wants you to imagine the vibrant color red of the pot as he compares the particular color to that of a tongue that turns red after you eat a sweet of cherry flavor. So all of these examples help you to understand how the poet makes use of the particular sense of sight where you can recreate images in your mind and imagine the different pictures. Moving on to the next sense of sound. Here poets make use of adjectives and adverbs to help readers to hear sound from a scene using their imagination. The description of sound given by the poet is so clear that the reader seems almost to hear them while reading the poem. So here the poet wants you to imagine the different sound that is being created as you read the poem. For example, the sound of drum in the distance attracted him. So now as you read this line, you are also at the back of your head, you're also imagining the sound that is being produced by the drum. Another example, the children were screaming and shouting in the field. So here the poet wants you to imagine the sound that is being created when children scream and shout. So with these two examples, we understand how the poet make use of these particular lines in order to help us recreate these images in our mind where we try and recreate the sounds that are being produced. Now the sense of smell. Here the poets make use of smell imagery to help describe what we smell. It could be the smell of perfume, smell of delicious foods and drinks, or even flowers. Here the main aim of the poet is to help us imagine the different sense of smell. For example, she smelled the scent of sweet hibiscus drifting through the air. So now as you read this line, at the same time you are also imagining the smell of hibiscus. Another example, The smell of rotting garbage filled up my nose when I opened the dustbin. So now as you read this line, you at the same time, you can also imagine the filthy smell that you get as you open up the dustbin. So here you can see how the poet is making use of this imagery device where he has used the sense of smell. Now, let's move on to the other sense, that is the sense of touch. Touch imagery is used by poets to describe the sense of touch. They describe something by focusing on the aspects that the reader could feel or touch. Touch imagery describes how things feel to the touch. For example, Rajesh's forehead slammed hard against the wall as he was rushing to go out. So now as you read this line, you can also imagine the feeling of touch as when you also slam your head hard against the wall. Another example, the wool jacket that she wore felt prickly against her body. So now you can also imagine how your body feels so itchy when you wear these woolen clothes during the winter season. So with these examples, you can see how poets usually make use of such lines so that as while you're reading the lines, you can also imagine the feeling of touch, the sense, the feeling that you have when you read those lines. So that's how poets make use of this imagery device of the sense of touch. Moving on to the next sense, that is the sense of taste. Taste imagery is often used by poets to describe the sense of taste. The poet describes what is being tasted. The description should create pictures in your mind that make you think about the taste. For example, rich chocolate slowly melted in her mouth. Now as you read this line, you can also imagine the rich taste of chocolate as you eat it and it starts melting in your mouth. Another example, the food was so spicy that my mouth was set on fire. Now imagine when you eat something so spicy that it's so hot, you feel as if that your mouth is set on fire. So now with these two examples, you can see how these lines are being used, where at the same time as you read it, you can imagine the sense of taste when you eat these particular items that are being mentioned in these lines. So that is how the poet makes use of the sense of taste. Now let us have a look at some examples of imagery poems so that you can have a more better understanding. Now let me read out this poem and then we will try and identify the different senses. Apple pie. I can see the apple pie. I smell the sweet spice treat. I can hear the timer ring that says it's time to eat. I can feel the steam so warm rising in the air. I can taste the juicy filling. Would you like to share? So now this is an imaginary poem, a very simple imaginary poem. So now let us try and identify the different senses. Now for the first sense, that is sight. I can see the apple pie. So it's of course that see. So that's related to sight. So now what is the sight that you can see? You can see the apple pie. Smell. I smell the sweet spice treat. So now along with this line, you're also imagining the sweet spice treat of pie. Sound. I can hear the timer ring. So now as you're reading this line, you can also imagine the sound that the timer makes when you put the cake or when you bake something, when you put it in the oven, there's a timer that rings, right? So automatically as you read this, you're also imagining the sense of sound. Touch. I can feel the steam so warm rising in the air. So now with this particular line, you can also imagine the sense of touch that you get, the feeling that you get when you touch this warm pie. Lastly, taste. I can taste the juicy feeling. So that is when you eat the particular pie, or say not just pie, but you can just also imagine any other being like cake. But the aim is just for you to imagine the sense of taste while you taste it. So likewise, you can see how in this poem, in a very simple way, it has used the different senses. Now let's have a look at another very simple imagery poem written by a student named Samir. Spring. Lots of seagulls flying over the beautiful sky like a swarm of bats. Fresh air wafting to everyone like fire. Cars and trucks roaring like a dinosaur. Sweet cool air like sweet treats. Smooth wet obstacles like slobbery slime. Spring. So now let us try and identify the different senses. Firstly, sight. Lots of seagulls flying over the beautiful sky like a swarm of bees. So now here the poet wants you to imagine the visual imagery of seagulls, birds flying over the sky like a swarm of bats. That means bats all together. Swarm means where they're all flying all together. So now this is giving you the sense of sight, where you're imagining the visual. Next sense, that is the sense of touch. Fresh air wafting to everyone like fire. So now here, imagine during the hot summer season when you can feel the wind blowing over to you, gently passing over to your body, but it's so hot that you can feel the warm wind. So now here the poet's comparing the warm wind to like the fire. So now here the poet's aiming to give you the sense of touch, the feeling. Another example, smooth wet obstacles like slobbery slime. So here now it's giving you another sense of touch, that is when you touch the slime. It's slobbery, right? It's very squishy. So that is the sense of touch. Another sense, that is sound. Cars and trucks roaring like dinosaur. So imagine the sound that are being produced by cars and trucks during this heavy traffic jam. So now the poet's comparing to the sound that is being produced by a dinosaur. Lastly, we have the sense of taste. Sweet, cool air like sweet treats. Now imagine eating all these sweets, right? So now here the poet is comparing the air as if it's like a sweet. So now we can see how in this very simple poem also the particular poet who is a student is writing this particular poem and making use of different senses. So now as you're reading the poem, you're also going through all these different senses. You're imagining them, right? The different sounds, the different feelings, the different sight that you can visualize. Okay, so that is basically what is this imagery device that are being used by the poets. Now let us have a look at a poem from your textbook entitled Breakfast by P.H. Kilby. Good morning, little earthworm, said the speckled thrush. Where would you be going so early in a rush? I'm off to find some breakfast, he answered with a frown. Well, so am I, sir, said the thrush, and quickly gulped him down. So here we can see that the poet made use of the sense of taste because the lines quickly gulped him down. This particular line helps you to imagine the sense of taste as the bird eats the worm. So now the imagery device used here in this poem is the sense of taste. Let's read another poem from your textbook entitled Hummingbird by Odette Thomas. Hummingbird, hummingbird, why don't you hum? I do not hum because I am dumb. Then why are you called hummingbird of all things? Because of the noise that I make with my wings. Here we can see how the poet has made use of the sense of sound because the particular line, because of the noise that I make with my wings. This particular line helps you to imagine the sound that is being produced by birds. Here specifically mentioned hummingbird. So now this helps you to imagine the sound that is being produced by the bird. So now you can see how the poet has made use of the imagery device of the sense of sound. Let us have a look at one final example of an imagery poem which is also taken out from your textbook, entitled Snail by Patricia Leighton. Steady explorer, you crawl on your stomach foot along silver trails, stretch your soft neck, grasp a leaf, rasp it with sandpaper tongue. So now let us identify the different senses that is being used by the particular poet. Touch, that is sandpaper tongue. So now you need to understand how snail usually has a very rough tongue. So now the poet here has made use of the particular line sandpaper tongue. So now that is particularly used for you to imagine the particular sense of touch when you touch or feel something that is very rough. Another example of sense of touch is stretch your soft neck. Now imagine touching or feeling the softness of the neck. Another sense that is being used is the sense of sight along silver trails. So now you can imagine when snails walk across, you can see the lines that they leave behind because of the stomach that is touching the ground. So that creates a sort of a line, okay, like that of a silver trail. So now that is a visual imagery for you to imagine. Another sense that is being used is the sense of sound. Raspid. Raspid means the sound that is produced when you crush something. Okay, something that is particularly very dry. Okay, so here the poet is talking about the leaf that is dry. So when you crush that particular leaf, then it makes a particular sound. Therefore, the poet has used raspid here as an example to use for the sense of sound. The last sense, that is the sense of taste. That is the tongue that is being used here. So now imagine the taste that the snail will have as the particular snail eats the leaf while making noise at the same time. So see how all of the small examples that the poet has been using so that it creates a imagery for you to be able to imagine all of these different senses. Now all of these different examples that I've given for the different imagery poems, I hope it has helped you to understand how the poet make use of all these different imageries in order for you to understand the different senses that is being used throughout the poem. Moving on to another topic, that is poems to play scripts. Now you do know how when people perform dramas or particular play, every particular character has different lines that they particularly say. So now let us see how we can make use of these different poems and try and turn it into a play or a drama and make a script for it. Now, to turn a poem into a play script, one must remember three very important points. Firstly, invent a setting. That is some information about where the dialogue will take place for the play. So remember to have a particular place and the timing for the play. Secondly, add a character. That is who will talk to the main character in your poem. So now every poem will have one particular main character, like that of the poem that you have in your breakfast and the hummingbird, which we have read in the earlier part of the video. Okay, so remember to have a character. Thirdly, add some adverbs to show or tell the speaker how to tell the line. So with the help of adverbs, you have to make use of it so that the particular character will know how he or she should tell the line. Maybe in an angry manner, in a soft manner, okay? So the adverb should tell them how to say the line. So in order to make the play script, these 3 points are very important. Now let us have a look at the poem entitled Breakfast and try and make a play script out of it. So now we do understand that firstly we must have a setting for the particular play script. So here in this poem, the setting is early one morning in the garden. So now we see that both the timing and the place is mentioned. That is, the timing is early in the morning and the place is the garden. Now, next important point is to have a character. So here we have the first character, that is the thrush. And this is the particular line that the thrush speaks. Good morning, little earthworm. Where would you be going so early in a rush? Now comes the second character, that is the earthworm. And this earthworm answers in a very crossly manner, meaning in a very angry manner. And you see how the third important point, that is adverb, is being used. So now, keeping this adverb in mind, the particular character should say the line in a very angry manner. I'm off to find some breakfast, which shows that the character is not interested in or like getting annoyed with the thrush asking him the particular question. Now, the first character, the thrush, replies saying, well, so am I, sir. And the particular play will be ending with the thrush quickly gulping down the earthworm. Okay, so you see how all these different 3 points, that is the setting, the character, and the use of adverb, is being used. So now with this we can create a very small drama. Okay, so this is how you have to make use of these important points in order to turn the poem into a play script. Now let us have a look at the grammar section. Adjectives. Adjectives are words that are used to help describe or give description to people, places, and things. It includes words that describe what something looks like and what it feels like to touch, taste, or smell. This adjective can help give information about size, shape, age, color, purpose, or even feelings. Let us look at some examples. Liza is an adorable baby. Here the adjective adorable is used in order to give some more added information to what type of a baby it is. This is a wooden board. We could simply just say this is a board, but with the help of adjective we have some more information, that is, we know what type of board it is, that is a wooden board. My sister has a beautiful big white bulldog. So now the adjective beautiful big white bulldog helps us to understand the type of the dog. So this is how, with the help of adjectives, the sentence gets more extra information and makes the sentence seem more interesting. Adverbs. An adverb is a word used to give more information about a verb, adjective, or another adverb. Adverb makes verbs more clear or more interesting. It is important to understand that adverbs answers the question how, when, and where. Let us look at some examples. He seems well. So now, well answers the question how. How does he swim? He seems well. So now the adverb here is well. She ate her lunch here in the dining hall. So now it answers the question where. That means the answer to this is here. That means the adverb is here. She went to the party yesterday. So now the adverb here is yesterday because it answers the question when. That means yesterday. Now moving on to another important grammar, that is nouns. Nouns are naming words. It is a part of speech that names a person, place, or thing. It could be a name of any person, for example, John, Fatima, Singh, Aradia. It could be a name of any place, for example, America, China, Church, Taj Mahal, Paris, Dimapur, etc. It could also be the name of any things, for example, car, hat, bottle, table, chair, ball. So anything that comprises of a person, place, or thing is what we understand it as a noun. So what is a noun phrase? A noun phrase is a group of words which takes the place of a noun. It refers to a group of words that takes the place of a noun. So, noun and noun phrase are somewhat similar, but noun phrase is a particular set of lines that takes the place of a single word, that is noun. Let us have a look at examples for more clear understanding. The spotted puppy is up for adoption. So now we understand the noun here is puppy because it is an animal. But now some more added information is given, that is the spotted puppy. So now that is the noun phrase because some more information is added to the noun. At the zoo, I saw a striped zebra and a big grey elephant. So now we see that the noun here is zebra and elephant, but some more information is given, that is striped zebra and a big grey elephant. So this extra information is what we understand as the noun phrase. Another example, he had to sit beside the horribly angry girl. So now we understand the noun here is girl. Now with the help of some more extra information, horribly angry, we understand that this is the noun phrase. So now we need to understand that noun and noun phrase are both similar. Okay, they're more basically the same. It's just that noun phrase is taking the place of a noun by giving some more added information to it. With this, we come to an end for this particular unit. I hope you have learned something new. Thank you for watching and remember to stay safe.